So I'm going to ignore the recent controversy surrounding brand new singer Jessie Lacey over the past few years, and I'm going to take a time machine back to 2003. That was my senior year of high school. And this album, Deja Entendu, which is right here, and I think I'm saying it correctly. I hope so. It's one of my favorite albums. I should be, but Deja Entendu was released in June of 2003, and I was already graduated. And I don't remember exactly when I heard it, but it was sometime that year. And at that time, I was in two bands. And the first band, I was a bass player for a pop punk band called Glinch. And the second band I was in was called Volt Negative, and I was the singer and guitar player for that band. And this album had a huge influence on how I wanted to sound, you know, singing wise, lyrically, guitar wise. I was getting into Metallica and a little, you know, metal, but not as much. You know, I would throw some metal stuff in there, but it was more of this style of music from this album that I was going after. Because the songwriting is just incredible. The lyrics, Jessie Lacey is one of my favorite lyricists of all time. His lyrics just have meaning, all of them, but they seem to be, you know, they could probably mean one thing, but it's kind of left up, you know, to interpretation, however you want to see it, which is why I love them so much, because I'm sure you know, most of the songs were about love and heartbreak and hurt and depressing things, but you could really look at them as meaning something else, and maybe just meaning something that you want it to mean for you. And I think I still actually write lyrics that way. A lot of my, you know, I have a lot of my subject matters is about love and heartbreak and, you know, things like that, a lot of depressing things, but also I like to write things that might not be exactly what it looks like or appears to be. I like to throw in some mystery there, you know. In this album, I had to think this album for that, because there's a lot of that in this album and a lot of their stuff that they came out with afterwards. And there's another reason why this album is so important to me is because there's something strange about this album and a select few others from a few other bands that actually do this, and that is somehow can apply to different events in my life, important events throughout, since it, you know, first came out in 2003 all the way up till today. Somehow, you know, I've always gone back to that album, and it can apply to different times in my life. And it's, you know, it's a strange thing, but when an album does that, it's pretty incredible. You know, very rare does that happen. Deftones, definitely, a lot of their albums, pretty much almost all of them, can apply to different times in my life. But this one in particular as well, just I've gone back, I've listened to it for almost 20 years and still can find meaning, you know, behind something that has happened to me at a certain time in my life. And that's why it's still special to me. But if you haven't heard it, my top 3 favorite songs are the single, which is The Quiet Things That No One Ever Knows, Me versus Maradona versus Elvis, and then the last song on the album, Play Crack the Sky, which is just such a beautiful song. It's Jessie Lacey and his acoustic guitar, and that's how they finished the album. So if you haven't heard it, check it out. It's a very special album to me, and if you have heard it, let me know if you have in the comments, and I'd like to hear what you think of it. So have a good weekend, everybody, and please stay safe and wash your goddamn hands. All right, bye.